Have you ever heard of a plant that eats insects? Yes, you heard it right. In the extraordinary world of flora, where flowers bloom and leaves rustle, there exists a unique and somewhat eerie group of plants that have developed an unusual taste for insects and even small animals. These are the carnivorous plants. Now you might be thinking, plants that eat meat? That's not normal. And you're right. Most plants are content to soak up the sun, absorbing its rays through their leaves in a process we call photosynthesis. They draw water and essential nutrients from the soil through their roots and produce the food they need to grow. But carnivorous plants are different. They've flipped the script on Mother Nature's food chain. They still perform photosynthesis, but they live in environments where the soil lacks those necessary nutrients. So, to get by, they've developed a taste for a different kind of nutrient source: insects and small animals. Now don't start imagining a Venus flytrap munching on a cheeseburger. These plants are not going to join you for a barbecue. But they have found an ingenious way to supplement their diet. They use their leaves in a whole new way. Instead of just soaking up the sun, these leaves have evolved into intricate traps. Some carnivorous plants, like the Venus flytrap, have leaves that snap shut when an unsuspecting insect lands on them. Others, like the pitcher plant, have leaves that form deep wells filled with an enticing nectar. When an insect ventures in for a sip, it slips and falls into the well, where it's slowly digested. And then there's the sundew. With leaves covered in sticky hairs, it looks like it's glistening in the sun, but for insects, it's a sticky end. They get stuck on the leaves and the plant slowly digests them. Isn't it fascinating that some plants eat meat just like some animals? Now you're probably wondering how many types of these plants exist. Let's find out. Did you know there are more than 600 species of carnivorous plants in the world? That's right. These fascinating plants have developed some truly unique ways to catch their meals. Let's look at 3 of the most famous carnivorous plants: the Venus flytrap, the pitcher plant, and the sundew. First up, we have the Venus flytrap, which is probably the most famous carnivorous plant of all. This little green marvel has a jaw-like trap that snaps shut when an unsuspecting insect lands on it. On the inside of the trap are tiny hairs which, when touched twice quickly, cause the trap to snap shut, capturing the bug. The Venus flytrap then secretes digestive juices, much like our stomach, to break down and absorb the nutrients from its prey. Next, we have the pitcher plants. These plants are shaped a bit like a water pitcher, hence the name. The inside of the pitcher plant is slippery and filled with a pool of digestive juices. The plant lures insects in with sweet nectar, and once the insects slip and fall into the pool, there's no getting out. The plant then digests the insects at its leisure. Lastly, we have the sundews. These plants are covered in sticky, hair-like tentacles that secrete a sweet, dew-like substance. This substance attracts insects, but it's also incredibly sticky. When an insect lands on the sundew, it gets stuck. The more the insect struggles, the more entangled it becomes. The sundew then slowly wraps its tentacles around the insect and begins the digestion process. These are just a few examples of the incredible diversity of carnivorous plants. Each has its unique method of capturing and digesting prey, proving that nature is full of surprises. So now you know about these amazing plants and how they catch their food. But where do these plants live? Let's dive into their habitats. Carnivorous plants can be found all over the world, in every continent except Antarctica. That's right, these intriguing green hunters have made just about every corner of the planet their home. But what kind of places do they prefer? Let's dive in and explore the wild and wonderful habitats of carnivorous plants. Firstly, we have bogs and wetlands. These are marshy, waterlogged areas where the soil is low in nutrients. It's a tough life for most plants, but not for our carnivorous friends. They've evolved to catch and digest insects to make up for the lack of nutrients in the soil. Have you heard of the Venus flytrap? Well, it's a native of the nutrient-poor bogs of North and South Carolina in the United States. Next, we journey to the tropical rainforests, the home of the largest carnivorous plant, the giant pitcher plant. In these humid, rain-drenched forests, these plants have adapted to life in the trees, using their pitcher-like traps to catch unsuspecting insects, and even small animals that are lured in by their sweet, enticing scent. But it's not just warm places where these plants thrive. Some carnivorous plants, like the round-leaved sundew and the butterwort, can be found in the colder regions of North America and Europe. These plants have sticky, dew-covered leaves that trap insects, providing a hearty meal in an otherwise barren landscape. And did you know that some carnivorous plants even grow in deserts? Yes, you heard that right. The cobra lily, for example, thrives in the arid conditions of the California deserts, catching insects in its snake-like trap to supplement its diet in this nutrient-poor environment. So, from the swampy bogs to the lush rainforests, the cold tundras to the hot deserts, carnivorous plants have adapted to survive and thrive in a wide range of habitats. They are a testament to nature's ability to adapt and overcome challenges. These plants have truly adapted to some of the most challenging environments on Earth. But can we grow these plants at home? Let's find out. Growing carnivorous plants at home can be a fun and educational experience. If you're thinking about adding a little bit of the wild to your windowsill, you're in for a treat. But remember, these aren't your average potted ferns. They need a bit more TLC to thrive. Firstly, you'll need to consider the type of soil. Unlike most plants, carnivorous ones prefer nutrient-poor soil. Yes, you heard right, poor soil. Why? Because they get their nutrients from their prey, not the soil. So, a mix of peat moss and perlite or sand is usually the way to go. Now let's talk about water. These plants are used to living in damp environments, so keep the soil wet at all times. But be careful with the type of water you use. Tap water can be high in minerals that can harm the plant. So, rainwater or distilled water is your best bet. Sunlight is also crucial for these green predators. They love basking in the sun, just like you on a sunny day at the beach. So, a sunny windowsill is an ideal spot for your new plant buddy. When it comes to feeding your plant, remember they're not vegetarians. They like to chow down on insects, so if you're not squeamish, you can feed them small bugs. But don't worry if you can't catch any. They're pretty good at hunting their own food. And here's a fun fact for you. Carnivorous plants can be great for pest control. Got a problem with flies or mosquitoes? These plants can be your all-natural insect zapper. But remember, these plants are not just for show. They're living things that need care and attention. So if you're ready to embark on this exciting journey of plant parenthood, go ahead and give it a try. So growing these plants at home can be quite an adventure. But how much have you learned? Let's test your knowledge with a quick quiz. It's time for a short quiz. Are you ready? Alright, let's see how well you've been paying attention. Don't worry, no grades here, just good old fun and learning. So let's dive right in. Our first question is a bit of a brain tickler. Here it goes. What do carnivorous plants eat? That's right, you got it. Unlike most plants that get their food from the sun and soil, carnivorous plants have a taste for something a bit more animated. They eat insects and sometimes even small animals. Talk about a plant with an appetite. Moving on to question number 2. Can you name one type of carnivorous plant? There were quite a few we talked about, weren't there? Did the Venus flytrap come to mind, or perhaps the sneaky sundew with its sticky tentacles, or maybe the pitcher plant with its deep, deadly well? Any of these answers are correct. These are all fascinating examples of carnivorous plants. Alright, it's time for our final question. Where can you find carnivorous plants? Remember, these plants are world travelers. They can be found in almost every corner of the globe, from the jungles of Borneo to the swamps of North Carolina. But they're especially fond of places where the soil is poor in nutrients. They must really love a challenge. Well, that's it for our quiz. How did you do? Whether you got all the answers right or learned something new today, you've done a fantastic job. Great job. You're now an expert on carnivorous plants. Don't forget to subscribe to the GURUKIDZ Smart Kids channel for more fun and educational videos. Keep those thinking caps on and stay curious, because the world is full of amazing things to discover. Until next time, happy exploring.